The sun had just broken over the lake when Marcus's brother, Aaron, cast his fishing line into the gentle water, humming the same tune their father used to on lazy summer mornings. The lake was their land, part of the property their family had owned for decades. Aaron didn't see anyone else around, he only saw the water, the trees, the sense of belonging. Seconds later, he heard a car door slam. Two HOA officers strode toward him, uniforms crisp, expressions severe. "You need to get off this lake now," the lead officer said, voice cold. Confusion flashed in Aaron's eyes. "This is my property," he replied calmly. The officers insisted their orders. Someone had called 911, claimed trespassing and illegal fishing on HOA water. And they had to enforce HOA rules. Marcus, hearing about it moments later, felt everything inside him tighten. His blood felt hot. How could someone call 911 on his brother for standing by family land? The lake, the dock, the trees, they all stood for memories, for childhood laughter, for quiet peace. Now the HOA had turned them into a battleground. The officers left with warnings, Aaron left the water. Marcus watched, stomach roiling with anger and disbelief. As twilight fell, Marcus stood at the edge of the lake, his silhouette dark against the golden reflection. He made a vow, this wasn't over. The HOA had made a mistake, a desperate, reckless one. And that mistake would cost them much more than they ever imagined. Marcus spent the next days gathering every document his family had: property deeds, lakefront rights, original maps, boundary surveys. His grandmother's arthritis-worn notebook held hand-drawn sketches of the lake and shore markers from decades ago. Each piece fit together, like shards of glass forming a picture. The lake was theirs, not HOA's. Neighbors began to murmur. The fishing pier, the dock, the water rights, had the HOA really overstepped? Marcus took photographs of Aaron's fishing spot, of the dock, of trees growing exactly along the boundary lines marked in old deeds. One midday, he visited the county recorder's office, tracing entries and signatures, discovering that earlier HOA claims had missing stamps. Altered dates, even questionable witnesses. HOA meetings followed. Karen, the HOA president, spoke with confidence, citing bylaws that supposedly gave them shared lake control. Most homeowners nodded, unaware of the documents Marcus held. A few side glances were exchanged. Did the HOA really have all those rights? Marcus saw the doubt in people's eyes. He saw the uneasy looks when HOA board members spoke. The lake's surface, once mirror calm, now reflected more than trees, it reflected tension. And Marcus felt a deep certainty, the law was on his side. Armed with evidence, Marcus hired a property lawyer with experience in lakefront rights. They crafted a notice of demand, retract the HOA's order, return full access, and pay for damages. The HOA responded with silence. Karen's board refused to apologize. They claimed the 911 call was standard procedure per their rules. Marcus filed a lawsuit. In the courtroom, he presented the deeds, the original surveys, and expert testimony from a land surveyor. He showed the map from 50 years ago and photographs of the lake taken when his grandfather used to fish there. One witness, an elderly neighbor, spoke of houses built later, but always with the understanding that Marcus's family owned the lakefront. The HOA countered with bylaws, invoking community control language. But their documents were murky, full of vague phrases and unsigned amendments. Karen's face flushed as the judge leaned over, reading one of the disputed affidavits. It lacked legal acknowledgement. The verdict came. The judge ordered a temporary injunction. The HOA must allow fishing, must stop enforcement, must not call 911 for Aaron or Marcus over fishing. It was the first crack in the HOA's armor. But Marcus knew the fight was far from over. Word spread. Local papers picked the story up: HOA versus Brothers, lake rights dispute. Community members took sides. Marcus got support from fishermen, retired folks who remembered the lake's old name. The HOA board defended themselves, painting Marcus's actions as a personal feud, saying he was damaging neighborhood unity. Karen tried to call another HOA meeting, asserting that property values needed regulation, that fishermen could scare off buyers. She argued that safety and liability were risks. But Marcus had anticipated this. In his lawsuit, his lawyers included clauses about liability, about insurance risks, about how fake enforcement orders could cost more than they gained. Meanwhile, Marcus organized a small event, a fishing day, inviting local residents to fish legally at his family's lakefront. The turnout was strong. Photos went online, showing ordinary people casting lines, children laughing, everyone's faces bright under the sun. The contrast was stark: peaceful good versus aggressive enforcement. Public sentiment shifted. HOA board members grew defensive. Karen's confident posture faltered in interviews. Marcus saw their unease, and in every handshake or hello, in every nod from neighbors, he felt the tide turning. Karen, under pressure, demanded that Marcus drop the lawsuit. She offered a payment, a small sum to cover her legal fees, a public apology, and a new HOA rule allowing fishing only with permits. Marcus refused. The stakes were bigger than money. Rights were at risk. He pressed ahead. His lawsuit now sought actual damages, compensation for the emotional distress, for lost usage of the lake, and for violation of established lake rights. He estimated the loss as hours of fishing, memories, the community events canceled. His legal team compiled receipts, testimonials, mental anguish accounts. Karen's face in board meetings became a map of worry. Some HOA members, seeing their own property values scrutinized, questioned her leadership. Developers who had backed expensive homes near the lake withdrew offers under threat of liability. The HOA's legal budget began to blow past its estimates. Then came the shocking number. By this point, Marcus's lawsuit valuation neared $4 million. It wasn't just the lake anymore, it was the future of the HOA and their financial exposure. For many, that realization meant panic. Karen tried to negotiate, but Marcus's terms remained firm. He didn't want money, he wanted justice, accountability, and restoration. In a packed courtroom, months later, attorneys from both sides stood before the judge. Karen's lawyers pleaded to settle quietly, avoid public embarrassment, limit damages, keep property prices safe. Marcus's team demanded full compensation and clear legal precedent. HOA bylaws could not override property deeds and rights of lakefront owners. The judge took a long look at all the evidence: old deeds, survey maps, deposits from the fishing event, public records, emotional testimonies. The courtroom felt heavy with tension. Finally, the gavel came down. The HOA was ordered to pay $4 million in damages to Marcus and his brother. They were also legally forbidden from filing any enforcement calls like 911 against them for fishing. The settlement required the HOA to publicly retract their rules, post signs that clearly mark Marcus's family's lakefront rights, and cover all legal costs. The HOA board members were made to sign a statement acknowledging the wrong. The judge's words echoed: land rights, when properly documented, are not subject to fear or arbitrary enforcement. After the courtroom emptied, Marcus and Aaron walked by the lake at dawn, footsteps soft on dewy grass. The water shimmered. The dock stood quiet. The lake was theirs again. Neighbors brought fishing poles, kids splashed in the water. The evening felt like a long-awaited peace. Karen, subdued, spoke little in the following HOA meetings. The power she once wielded felt thin. Her attempts at leadership were met with polite distance. Marcus didn't gloat. He didn't parade his victory. He invited people back, shared the lake freely, restored what had been taken, and in the golden light of one evening, Marcus stood on the dock, casting a line into still water. He thought of Aaron, of their childhood, of every moment stolen. And now, with justice served, it was theirs again, and that was the final twist in this unbelievable HOA story. If you loved the drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment sharing your thoughts. It really helps this channel grow.